Good evening from Washington, D.C., and thank you to those of you joining us from around the world. I'm Lauren Ashburn. A defiant President-elect Donald Trump denies reports Russia has compromising personal and financial information about him. And he is also promising to put his billions in a trust before Inauguration Day. Wyatt Goolsby is in New York with the President-elect. Wyatt?
Lauren, just 9 days before his inauguration, Donald Trump is addressing the media in a news conference, his first in nearly 6 months. He talked about a variety of issues, from diverting from his business empire to some of the top priorities of his administration. But what dominated this highly anticipated event today was his defense of an unverified intelligence report.
As far as hacking, I think it was Russia.
Trump conceding for the first time in public that Russia was likely behind hacking during the election, but denouncing the media for reports that the former Soviet Union has compromising information about him.
And hacking's bad, and it shouldn't be done. But look at the things that were hacked. Look at what was learned from that hacking. That Hillary Clinton got the questions to the debate, didn't report it. That's a horrible thing. That's a horrible thing.
And when asked about his relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump said it would be an improvement.
If Putin likes Donald Trump, guess what, folks? That's called an asset, not a liability.
After walking past piles of documents he signed to separate himself from his business interests, Donald Trump announced he was passing the baton to his sons.
Don and Eric are going to be running the company. They are going to be running it in a very professional manner. They're not going to discuss it with me. Again, I don't have to do this.
Trump legal advisor Sherry Dillon explained that as President of the United States, Trump would not be legally required to separate himself from his financial assets. But she said he'll donate all hotel profits from foreign governments to the U.S. Treasury. The president-elect repeated plans for a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border.
Mexico will pay for the wall, but it'll be reimbursed. Okay?
He also promised to release the name of his candidate for the Supreme Court vacancy within 2 weeks of taking office. But Trump did not take kindly to all questions from the media, sternly rebuking CNN's Jim Acosta.
I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
And it wasn't just CNN. Trump also called out BuzzFeed, the online publication, saying their report was also fake news. It got pretty contentious there at the end, Lauren, as you saw. Jim Acosta had tried to ask a question, and Donald Trump shut him down. Lauren?
Wyatt, it seemed that Donald Trump was more irritated than usual at the press. Is that right?
Yes, it definitely seemed that way, at least at that point in time. And it wasn't just Donald Trump, by the way. It seems like his entire team was frustrated about this issue specifically. At the very beginning of the press conference, Sean Spicer came out and called out several of those news publications for printing or publicating this dossier, which talked about the relationship of these allegations of Russia connection to Trump, supposedly that Russia had some of Trump's financial and personal information. That information, by the way, has not been verified. Spicer reiterated the fact that it's still under investigation. And in fact, Russian President Vladimir Putin has come out and also said that these allegations are fake as well. Lauren?
You were in the press conference in the lobby of Trump Tower right behind you during that exchange. What was the reaction like among the journalists?
I'd say it's a mixed one. I mean, there were some vocal no's. I mean, there were people who were just kind of shocked and looked to see what was going on. Other people just grabbed their iPhones and cameras and making sure they were all eyes were on Trump, if you will. But I would say at that point, there were probably a little bit more than 250 journalists in the room, as you mentioned, in the lobby. Some from different parts of the world, some from Russia, some from China. But like we say, all eyes at that point, at least at that point, were on Trump.
Wyatt, let's move on from the media circus. Is there a timeline for the Supreme Court pick? Did he mention that?
Yes, Trump said the plan is to put forward a person's name by the first week of February. He says he wants to get that done pretty quick. He had made reference to a list of more than a dozen that he had mentioned last year that he's thinking about right now. By the way, many of those have been approved by conservatives, many have been approved by pro-lifers, but he says he wants to get that done within the first 2 weeks of his inauguration. He says that's very important, by the way. He realizes a lot of people voted for him for that very reason. Lauren?
Wyatt Goolsby reporting from New York City. Thank you, Wyatt.